Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. I never thought that there would be part 2 declutter video right after the first one of this year, which just came out. But even though some of the cuts in that video might be surprising, to be honest, most of them were quite easy to make. And my collection keeps growing. I keep purchasing new perfumes. I keep wanting to try new perfumes, and it just keeps growing. Well, because there's so many new perfumes are coming, and I still have so many on my wish list, there are more fragrances that have to leave my collection. I just can't keep adding and adding and adding without letting go of more fragrances. So after filming that video, I really decided to take a cutthroat approach to looking at my collection and really cutting out more fragrances. And so I have decided to let go of 10 more. And some of these were honestly really difficult decisions, but like I said, I just have to let go of more fragrances so that I have an opportunity to try more, which is what I really want. Now, I'm not going to go into any of the disclaimers that I went through in the first video, why I'm letting go, what this declutter means, etc. If you're interested, all of that is mentioned in that video. Here, let's just go straight into the fragrances that are going to be leaving. And the first two are not going to be surprises, especially if you watched my last whole video. The first one is Cognac Café from Galleria Parfums. And I mentioned in a whole video that I didn't have enough of a chance to play with this fragrance yet, so I wasn't ready to make a decision then. But since filming the haul, I did have a chance to play with it a few more times, and unfortunately, it behaved exactly the same as it did the first time that I wore it. I love the opening of this fragrance. I like the initial dry down, but I really don't like the actual final dry down, which, you know, is the longest phase of this fragrance. This is really supposed to be about coffee, cognac, there's licorice in here, there's brown sugar, vanilla, you know, some woody notes, etc. And what really bothers me in this fragrance is that in the dry down, I'm getting an extremely strong note of licorice, and I'm really not enjoying it. So unfortunately for that reason, I have to let go of this fragrance. And one more thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, I am going to list in the description all of the fragrances that I still have that are available for purchase at the time that I post this video. So if you're interested in any of these, definitely message me and we can talk about the prices, etc. The best place to message me is on Instagram. And unfortunately, I can only ship within Canada. So there we go. Second one that I'm decluttering was actually mentioned in the same whole video, and I already don't have it. That one left. And that is Lattafa Oud for Glory. As I mentioned there, it was a really lovely scent. It was kind of oud with saffron, some other notes that really was very reminiscent of Baccarat Rouge. It was a lovely, lovely scent that actually kept growing and growing on me, but unfortunately the performance of that one was really terrible, and so for that reason I didn't want to keep it, so it found a better home already. Next fragrance that I'm going to declutter is Fancy from Jessica Simpson. Again, it's a fragrance that I absolutely love. It's a beautiful, sweet, gourmand caramel type of scent. This was actually one of the first blind buys that I ever made. So I've had this fragrance for a while, and as you can see, I haven't really used up it all that much. And that's because although I love the scent, but I have so many other beautiful gourmand scents that have a note of caramel that I just never seem to reach for this one anymore. And I haven't for a while. And so I just decided that it was time to let it go. So Fancy is going to leave my collection. Next one on my list is from Paco Rabanne, and this is Olympia Aqua. Another scent that I absolutely love. This is very similar to the original. It has salty vanilla, but this one also has ginger and some green notes, I think, which makes it kind of a fresher version of the original. And although I love it, it is similar to the original, and I seem to enjoy the original more, and that's typically when I want to wear this fragrance, I typically reach for the original Olympia. And so for that reason, I just don't think it makes sense to keep both. So I am going to keep the original because I prefer that one a little bit more, but I am letting go of the Aqua version. Now, don't get alarmed by the next one. I will explain. This is Cinema from YSL, which is one of my all-time favorite fragrances that I have raved about many, many times. And it is absolutely still the case. The thing is that I actually have 2 bottles of this fragrance. I have this 30 ml, which I'm decluttering, and I also have 100 ml, which I'm definitely keeping. I absolutely love this fragrance. To me, it smells like warm, sweet tea, maybe slightly floral tea with oranges or mandarins added in. Beautiful, beautiful scent. One of the staples in my collection. But you know, I have so many fragrances now that I don't get to wear each one that often, and so I just don't need to. I am definitely going to keep 100 mils, but like I said, I just don't need another one, and so that's why I'm letting go of this 30 ml bottle. Next, I have one of my more recent acquisitions that I'm kind of really sad to let go, and originally I was going to keep it and really you know, try testing it, try wearing it, hoping that I would fall more in love with it. And it just hasn't happened. And I don't feel like I should be forcing myself to do that. I have tried it numerous times, and although I like it a lot, but it's just a little bit too much for me. It's a little bit too heavy. I'm talking about Santel Royale from Guerlain. Here, what I get most of it is a lot of leather with sweet musky fruits. And I love that musky fruity side of it, but there's just too much leather for me. You know, it's a note that I don't typically enjoy, and it is, to my nose, it is so strong here, especially at the beginning. Like for the first couple of hours, leather is very strong. And I've mentioned several times that my husband really enjoys this fragrance, so he's not very happy with me that I've decided to declutter it. But the problem is that even when he wears it, I just don't enjoy smelling it on him. It's, again, too much leather. My nose picks up too much leather, and so I've decided that, well, if I'm really struggling with this fragrance, I really don't need to keep it. So unfortunately, Santel Royale is looking for a new home. One more fragrance that I actually forgot to bring with me. So I still have it, but I will put up a picture here. It is Zara, a sweet pastry in Paris. Beautiful scent. I've talked about it several times. The problem is that it is very similar to a number of other scents that I have. It is similar to Xergia Flira. It is similar to Love and Crime from Ex Italo. It is even somewhat similar to Unknown Pleasures from Kerosene. And I love all of those fragrances. And typically when I'm in a mood to wear something like this, I would reach for one of those, and I just don't reach for Zara. It is lovely. It is very similar to these three, but you know, it is just, you can tell that the quality is not there. It does feel a little more synthetic, and so I'm just not reaching for it. So again, that is something that I'm going to declutter. Next one that I'm letting go of is Vanille from Molinard. Now, when I hold this fragrance, I mentioned that my whole purpose of purchasing it, and the fragrance is, just like the name suggests, is about vanilla. So it smells to me like melted vanilla ice cream. It is light, it is airy, it is very simple, but very lovely scent. And I mentioned that my whole purpose of purchasing this was for layering. I wanted to add it to fragrances that I felt like, you know, didn't have enough vanilla or didn't have enough sweetness. I was gonna layer it with this fragrance. But I have to admit to you, I am terrible at layering. Really, I never end up layering. I always have the intention to do that, but I never do it. I'm just never sure of, you know, what to layer with what. It's sort of too much bother for me to think about two fragrances that will go together. So I just don't layer. And this one just doesn't get used. It is just too light and too simple to be used on its own, at least in my opinion. So again, because I'm not layering, and that was the whole purpose of getting this fragrance, I've decided that it needs to go. Next one that I'm letting go is from Versace, and this is Dylan Blue. This is such a nice, easygoing floral scent that has some fruity nuances as well. I really like this scent. It is inoffensive, easygoing, very nice floral scent, especially for those that are not huge fans of florals, because florals are really beautifully done here. But again, for some reason, I'm not reaching for this one. I haven't used it in over a year, and I kept sort of postponing decluttering it because I kept thinking, no, I'm going to use it, and then I never do. So it's time to be honest here, and because I haven't used it in over a year, I'm letting it go. And I believe we're down to two more, which were my hardest cuts. The next one I'm going to show you is from Guerlain, and this is La Petite Robe Noir Intense. Again, a fragrance that I have spoken about highly on many, many occasions, and I completely stand by those words. This is a beautiful, sweet gourmand. It has blueberries and cotton candy, and that's really what it smells like. It is still my absolute favorite of the La Petite Robe Noir line. I love it. But again, this was one of my early blind buy purchases. So I've had it for quite some time, and I just feel like maybe I've outgrown this scent. I've gotten quite a few other gourmand scents that I'm reaching for, and this one is just not getting used. I've used it, I don't know, 2 or 3 times in the last year, and that's just not enough. And so I really wanted to find a better home where somebody is going to love it and going to use it. So for that reason, I'm letting go of La Petite Robe Noir Intense. And the last cut that I'm going to make is really my toughest cut. I never thought, honestly, that I was going to declutter this fragrance. This has appeared in countless videos. It appeared in many of my top lists because it's a stunning fragrance, but I will explain. So the fragrance I'm talking about is Orchid Evening from Van Cleef and Arpels. Yes, I know it's surprising. I love, love, love this fragrance. It's a beautiful, powdery, bakery, vanilla type of scent. It is beautiful. The problem is performance. Just like with all the other fragrances from this line, it does not last well. 2-3 hours max, and it's gone. And for the longest time, I was going to keep it despite its poor performance, just because I loved the scent so much. But I discovered another fragrance recently that is not a dupe for this one, but it gives me a very similar vibe as this one. And I shared it with you in one of my recent hauls, and I got a small bottle of it. This is Bottega Parfumera Gourmand. I am definitely going to get a bigger bottle of this because I love this fragrance. It is so beautiful. It is also a vanilla scent. It kind of gives me that same sort of slightly powdery, slightly dry, slightly bakery type of vanilla. In no means a dupe for Orchid Vanille, but again, gives me a very similar vibe. And this one is an amazing performer. Amazing. I'm surprised how well it lasts and projects. I can spray this one in the evening, and when I wake up the next morning, I can still smell it. Amazing. Absolutely have fallen in love with this one. Like I said, I'm definitely going to get a bigger bottle. Beautiful. But because it gives me a similar vibe to Orchid Vanille and performance is so much better, I don't need both. And so for that reason, I'm letting it go. So, like I said, that was the last one. I think if I counted correctly, it's 11 more bottles that are going to leave my collection. And like I said, I'm going to put in the description below the bottles that I still have in case any of you are interested in getting them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you soon in my next video. Bye.